What is the daily sacrifice, and the abomination that maketh desolate, mentioned in the book of Daniel? The daily sacrifice was also known as the continual burnt offering, a central element of the worship practices in ancient Israel. This ritual is detailed in the Pentateuch, and was a vital part of the sacrificial system that underscored the Israelites' covenant relationship with God. In April 70 AD, about the time of the Passover, the Roman general Titus besieged Jerusalem. Since that action coincided with the Passover, the Romans allowed pilgrims to enter the city but refused to let them leave, thus strategically depleting food and water supplies within Jerusalem. Today the Israelis are taking revenge against the Palestinians by doing the same, refusing to let the Palestinians leave, and depleting their food and water supplies within Gaza. In August 70 AD, the Romans had breached the final defenses and massacred much of the remaining population. They also destroyed the Second Temple, leaving the Western Wall, the only trace of the Second Temple, which remains a site of prayer and pilgrimage today. The abomination of desolation comes primarily from the book of Daniel, where it appears multiple times. The original language indicates something detestable that causes desolation or ruin. The abomination that maketh desolate refers to the destruction of the Second Temple in Jerusalem in August 70 AD. This term is later cited in the New Testament, most notably in the words of Jesus, describing both a historical event related to the destruction of the temple and a future time of great tribulation. The abomination that maketh desolate has continued up until today, known as the time of the Gentiles, instead of being referred to as a 2,000-year period. At the end times of the Gentiles is completed by the total destruction of Jerusalem. From the book of the prophet Isaiah, in chapter 24, verses 1 to 6, and 16 to 20, quote, "Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. And it shall be, as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. The land shall be utterly emptied, and utterly spoiled, for the Lord hath spoken this word. The earth mourneth, and fadeth away, the world languisheth, and fadeth away, the haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled, under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left." And in verses 16 to 20, quote, "From the uttermost part of the earth have we heard songs, even glory to the righteous. But I said, my leanness, woe unto me. The treacherous dealers have dealt treacherously, yea, the treacherous dealers have dealt very treacherously. Fear, and the pit, and the snare, are upon thee, O inhabitant of the earth. And it shall come to pass, that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit, and he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare, for the windows from on high are open, and the foundations of the earth do shake. The earth is utterly broken down, the earth is clean dissolved, the earth is moved exceedingly. The earth shall reel to and fro, like a drunkard, and shall be removed, like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall, and not rise again." Note, this is referring to the Lord turning the earth upside down. In other words, the geographical north becomes the south, and the south becomes the north. It reels to and fro, like a drunkard, on its axis, because it has become dynamically unstable, pressing, as well as shifting in its orbit about the sun. There will come to pass, the size of the sun will appear over the whole horizon, and later the sun shall appear smaller than your smallest fingernail in the sky.